You're watching Cheap Shots, UFC 325 edition, and I'm your host, Guy Pert. This is the only show where I talk about UFC fighters the way they talk to each other. And in this video, I'm breaking down UFC 325, the best moments, and anything you might have missed out on. So leave me a thumbs up or drop a comment if you enjoy the video. On Saturday, Volkanovski successfully defended his title for the 8th time, tying Jose Aldo's record for the most featherweight title defenses in UFC history. Now, a lot of people are wondering what's next for Volk. At 37 years old, if you ask me, his 9th title defense, he should defend his belt against Father Time in a one-round main event with no time limit. Volkanovski got away with another decision, which he seems to have more of now than my therapist does, and that is not a good thing. 17 fights in the UFC, only 3 finishes over top-ranked opponents? That's a bad look. And speaking of bad looks, Diego Lopes, who has now broken both of his feet in his fight on Saturday against Volkanovski, which now makes him 0-2 against Volk, and 0-2 at being able to stand up straight. It's a bad look that after the fight in the press conference, Diego Lopes said he would like to fight Volkanovski a 3rd time down the road, where he'll do things more logically, differently. Such as wait for Volk to die of old age, because it's not going to happen. Volkanovski didn't even need a finish to win this fight. All he needed to do was sit down. Diego Lopes was the cushion, the crowd supplied the cheers, and this photo is eternal humiliation. Volkanovski sat on Diego Lopes for so long, the ref started to give a hard count after 35 seconds. It was pretty crazy. Volkanovski sat down like it was drag queen story hour in a kindergarten classroom, and he was ready to learn. All in all, great showing for Volk. Glad he's still got it at his age. And we move on to the next topic, the co-main event. Dan Hooker took on Benoit Saint Denis in a fun, scrappy fight while it lasted. In that fight, BSD elbowed Dan Hooker so many times that Dan got a new hobby that night, which is staring at lights. Not good. BSD thinks he actually deserves a title shot after his performance at UFC 325, which, if true, that now makes the line for a title shot at lightweight so long, Bonnie Blue couldn't take half of them. Dan Hooker's corner after the stoppage looked like their dog got hit by a French truck. And unfortunately for them, that dog survived. If it was up to me, I would have put the dog in there instead, because at least the dog would have bit back. Dan Hooker really flew home just to get his ass kicked in front of everybody that he knows. That's not just a loss. That's proof that God saves his best jokes for the main card. Rafael Fiziev took on Mauricio Ruffy in what was also a fun, scrappy fight while it lasted. Ruffy shocked the world whenever he knocked Fiziev out cold in the 2nd round. Then he stood over his body watching him crawl, like he was an extra in The Walking Dead. Mauricio Ruffy worked with Alex Volkanovski this camp, specifically to train in grappling. Which is weird. That's like going to your doctor to get advice on how to fix your bicycle. Rafael Fiziev has now won 1 fight in his past 5, putting him on ice. If he doesn't win his next fight, Rafael Fiziev is going to be Rafael Biziev. Biziev looking for another fucking job, because it ain't in the UFC anymore. These are some of the honorable mentions from UFC 325, and that includes Tai Tuivasa, Taliesin Teixeira, who, instead of fighting, decided it would be a better idea to have a cardio day instead. For 15 minutes in this heavyweight banger, the only one to get knocked out was both of their lungs, because that shit sucked. Next fight on the card, Quillan Salkilld submitted Jamie Malarkey in the very first round via neck crank. That looked so tight it was like assisted suicide. Only problem is when Salkilld does it, he gets a $100,000 bonus check. But when I try to do it, my girlfriend's parents call their lawyers. There was a major robbery on this card. Con Offley, robbed Yizha and stole the decision from the Chinese fighter. It reminded me of the Epstein files. The judges treated Yizha's significant strikes like it was a client list or something, completely redacting them all from the scorecards. If the UFC gets any more corrupt, it could become the fourth branch of the US government. Well, that's all the cheap shots I've got for tonight. I hope you're offended enough. Volkanovski's still got it at 37. Ruffy is still dangerous as he ever was. Malarkey's still looking for his chin somewhere in Sydney. And somehow, those judges still have jobs. I'll see you next time somebody gasses out there's a robbery or there's another bald Australian sitting on somebody else's dreams. Until then, you have a good night and thank you so much for watching Cheap Shots.